start by getting yourself a cardboard box, something somewhat big enough to cover your back. I'm using an old boot box here. And then you just want to hot glue the end of the box shut. So then lay your box out on a piece of poster board, and you want to cut the poster board off so it's only about 4 inches taller than your box. And so then you just roll it up into a tube and hot glue along the edges to hold it in place. And the tube is about 3 inches in diameter. So then just cut a 4-inch circle out of some more poster board. It doesn't have to be real exact, it can be a really sloppy circle, it won't matter. And then just cut a line halfway across. Then you're just going to pull the edges across, and that'll make you kind of like a little, almost like a little hat. It'll be just a little pointed rounded dome thing. So just glue the edge down. So then you'll just take your little pointed hat thing and glue it right to the top of your roll of poster board. And so then once you've got it glued on, you just want to trim the edge of it as close to the tube as you can get it without ripping it off. You don't want to cut right next to it, otherwise you will pop it off because you'll cut too much glue. But you just want to get it really close if at all possible. And so then you'll end up making 2 of those. And then you'll hot glue one of the tubes to either side of your box. So then get yourself an old wrapping paper roll. If you have 2, you can just stick the other one inside the first one, as I did here. You can't really see it, but I've got 2 of them on here to make it stronger. Then you'll cut yourself another circle like you did before. And you're going to fold the edges over, but you're going to pull it a lot tighter this time so that you end up with a much steeper cone. You're just going to hot glue that to get it to stay where it is, and then you'll hot glue the end of it onto the wrapping paper roll. And so then for the next part, just take a rectangle of poster board, and you're just going to fold it so it's very tight at the bottom and very loose at the top. It won't quite fit up under there yet, but it's going to eventually. So what you want to do is just keep track of that measurement. So once again, it's wider on one side than it is on the other. You want this part wide enough to fit around the wrapping paper roll. You'll just glue this in place. Then you just want to trim the top and the bottom so that you get nice flat edges. So then just start from the bottom of the wrapping paper roll and slide that right up to the top. And then you just hot glue that in place right under the point. And so then I cut 3 thin pieces of 3mm foam. You're just going to glue those, if your cat doesn't take them, glue those evenly spaced all the way around. You want to make sure that they're standing on end. Just like that. So then you'll cut another rectangle and you'll do the same thing you did with this one, except that the wide end will be on the opposite end. So glue the ends tight on this end this time, and the wide end will be down on the other side. And then once again, just slide it up, and you'll hot glue that in place right there. And so then finally you'll cut another circle out of the poster board, and this time you'll cut a circle in the middle, and mine is wide enough to go around the wrapping paper roll, but it doesn't really matter because you have to widen it out later on. And then you'll also cut a slit in the side, so you're going to bend that one right around. And this time you want the wider end. You want to make sure that that fits under this. You're just going to glue that in place to hold it. And so then just re-enlarge the hole so the wrapping paper roll can fit through it. And then just trim the bottom so that it's flat and only about 1 inch high. And then just slide that up the bottom of the wrapping paper roll. And then you'll hot glue the bottom of it, or the top of it, right inside the other one. Just like that. So then you want to lay it in the center of the box. You want about 3 inches sticking up from the end of the box. And then you just want to cut off the excess of the wrapping paper roll so that it's flat with the bottom of the box. And so then once you've got that cut off, you're just going to hot glue that in place right in the center of the box. So then I just took a piece of poster board big enough to cover everything up. And you just want to drape that right over the center post and around the 2 side towers. Then you're going to flatten it out and glue the edges around. That'll give it kind of the Boba Fett ridges. And then I took yet another piece of poster board and went from the front of it back around the sides. So here's what the front side would look like. And then here is what the back side looks like so far. So at this point, take a utility knife and cut 2 holes on the side of the box on the front side, one on the top and then one on the actual front side, and later on you're going to thread a piece of string through there to make it wearable. And then you'll put 2 on the other side as well, one on the top and one on the front. So here are the 2 holes on each side. So looking at it from the back side, over on the right hand side, you just want to drill a small hole. Then you want to take a pencil and push that through the hole. Then cut yourself a dollar-sized circle out of some 1/4 inch craft foam. Then you're just going to stick the pencil right through the center of that. You're going to glue this in place on the pencil, and then you're going to stick the whole thing right into that hole that you made earlier. And that's just going to stick up like that. And so then for the other side of it, I just rolled up another tube of poster board and put just a tiny little circle of thin black foam on it. And I'm just going to hot glue that over on the left hand side of it. So then for the jets on each side, you're going to need something round. I'm just using a little ball. There were actually cat toys, but my cats didn't like them. I'm using one of those. And then you want to take another piece of cardstock, fold it up like the other ones so that the top side is smaller and the bottom side is larger. And so then you just hot glue one of those little balls onto the top of your cone, and you'll make 2 of those. And so then you'll take just a small little piece of wrapping paper roll, and you'll glue that onto the side, and then you'll just hot glue that to the side of the bottom of one of the tubes. And so then here is the entire jetpack assembled without the paint yet, obviously. But here's all the pieces put together. Here's the back side, and then here's the front side, the side that will actually be worn against your back. So then what you'll do is take some metallic silver paint, and you're just going to paint silver on all the places that you want the weathering to show through. You're going to be painting over this with the top coat, but you want to make sure that you have this under it so when you sand it and weather it away, the silver will show up. You want to be sporadic in your painting. You don't want it to look too neat. You want it to look like it's weathered. So here it is with the silver where I'm planning to weather, and I did the spots of silver bigger than I'm planning to weather, but I want to make sure that there's enough silver paint under there so that I'm not scraping through to the white when I sand off the overcoating. And so then you're going to give the whole thing a coating of army green paint. The paint that I'm using here is chalk paint because it has that nice distressed look. So you want to go right over the entire surface, including all your little pieces of silver. Just make sure you remember where they are because you're going to sand off the green afterwards to reveal that silver. You might have to give it 2 coats of paint if you can see too much through the bottom once it dries. And so here it is with the coating of green paint. I left a little bit of the silver so I could tell where I'd painted my silver so I know where it is when I go to sand it off, but it's mostly covered in green. So then you just want to take some sandpaper and lightly sand off the top layer of green over the places where you painted silver to give it that aged look. And so then here's the sanding. So then take a brownish red, you're just going to paint a line all the way around in the bottom of each of the jets, just like that. And then paint a small circle in the center of each of the little balls. And then using the same paint, you're just going to run a ring about 1 inch wide at the bottom of the missile head. This thing you just want to take kind of a mustard yellow to use for the very tips of the columns. Just like that. And so then finally you'll take some silver paint and you're going to paint a circular piece of foam and the pencil. And then you'll paint 3/4 of the way up with silver on the other one. I'm going to leave this part blank because you're going to paint that black in a little bit. And then right where the center of the 2 small parts of the missile meet, you're just going to do a silver stripe right around the center. Then at the bottom of each of the jets, put a thin silver stripe right in the middle of the brown. And then on the little circles, you're just going to give them a silver outround. And so then for the final coat of paint, you're just going to paint the top of that silver column, that column that you painted 3/4 silver, you're just going to paint the very top of that black. And so then here is the finished jetpack. And so then to wear it, just thread some bias tape or piece of string right through those 2 holes that you made earlier. And then just tie it off. Then of course you do the same thing to the other side with the 2 holes. And so then to wear it, just put it behind your back, take the strings over your shoulders, and tie them around behind your back. And Boba Fett secretly loves kittens. And that's how you wear it.